Welcome to the top 5 Toxic commanders from Phyrexia All Is One. Toxic is a prominent ability in the new set. How the mechanic works is, whenever a creature you control with Toxic deals damage to a player, that player gets poison counters equal to the Toxic level, so Toxic 6 gives 6 poison counters. And, before we begin, I have to say we will not be including the 2 commanders from the pre-constructed commander deck. If we did, they would beat out most of the commanders in this list. Number 5 is Vencer, Corpse Puppet. Blue and a black for a legendary creature Phyrexian zombie wizard with lifelink and Toxic 1. Whenever you proliferate, choose one. If you don't control a creature named the Hollow Sentinel, create the Hollow Sentinel, a legendary 3/3 colorless Phyrexian golem artifact creature token. Target artifact creature you control gains flying and lifelink until end of turn, 1/3. This card made the list because it says Toxic on the card, and happens to be legendary. You could argue that a deck that wants to proliferate a ton would be a great fit for a deck featuring Toxic, but the commander themselves lacks any form of evasion and can't proliferate on their own either. I will concede that this is kinda cool, and has some potential for acute proliferate shenanigans, but it's not good enough at Toxic to be any higher on the list. Karmonix, the Rat King, is 1 black for a legendary creature Phyrexian rat. Toxic 1. Other rats you control have Toxic 1. When Karmonix enters the battlefield, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal any number of rat cards from amongst them and put the revealed cards into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. 3/3. This one was tough to place, because Rat Tribal just keeps getting better by the day, but this isn't the best Rat Tribal commander, or Toxic commander. It's a pretty decent commander if you're looking for both of these options specifically, and drawing into more rat gas is awesome. If you really like the Plague Rat archetype, then this is the perfect commander for you. However, it only makes it to number 4 on our list. Number 3 is Skrelv, Defector Mite. 1 white, legendary artifact creature Phyrexian Mite with Toxic 1. Skrelv, Defector Mite can't block. Pay 1 Phyrexian white mana, which can be paid with either 1 white or 2 life. Choose a color. Another target creature you control gains Toxic 1 and hexproof from that color until end of turn. It can't be blocked by creatures of that color this turn. 1/1. I wanted to place Skrelv higher on this list, I really did. If this was a list of the best 1 to put into a deck, I think this would be a serious contender. But white isn't particularly known for proliferate effects, and while this gives evasion and Toxic to any creature, white lacks the ability to really do much with that kind of creature. Sorry lad, not today. Number 2 is Ivor, Bane of Bladehold. 2 white-black. Legendary creature, Phyrexian Knight with Battlecry. Whenever this creature attacks, each other attacking creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn. At the beginning of combat on your turn, the next time target creature would deal combat damage to 1 or more players this combat, prevent that damage. If damage is prevented this way, create that many 1/1 colorless Phyrexian Might artifact creature tokens with Toxic 1, and this creature can't block 3/4. See, now we're starting to get somewhere. This one is an actual beast, given that it isn't impossible to get one creature very tall and then give it protections from a color, maybe even using Skrelv, and then getting a massive army of mites. At that point, it doesn't even matter if they don't have unblockable, just swing in with them on your next turn, get some Toxic through, and even more mites. It's also a self-sufficient system that keeps itself going, and if you go the equipment route, it isn't impossible to just rebuild post-board wipe. But that brings us to number 1, Kinzu of the Bleak Coven. 4 and a black, legendary creature, Phyrexian vampire with flying. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you may pay 2 life and exile it. If you do, create a token that's a copy of that creature except it's 1/1 and has Toxic 1. 5/4. I'll be the first to admit that black has like 5 creatures that can proliferate, meaning this is not going to be pulling off any shenanigans that way. But black does have some ways to give unblockables, such as Fear and Shadow. So, we get the value of an Aristocrats deck, and we get extra creatures from doing what we already wanted to do, and we get unblockable threats to dish out poison counters. You can't sit there and tell me that doesn't sound like a solid enough game plan to win. But that's it. That's the list. Did I miss anything? Or get the order wrong? If so, let me know in the comments down below. If you like this video, why not give it a like? And if you really like this video, you can always subscribe to my Patreon or even just my channel here. Either way, I hope you have a wonderful day.